Sorry, I forgot my hat. Hi, everybody. Very nice to have you. And I think, no, I haven't had, oh, nice. Completely new group from who I had now. Do you know anyone already? Have you shared a group?
No.
Nice. Okay, that's great. So yeah, same game as before. So I would ask you to please tell us your name, if you like, tell us where you're from, and one thing you loved about the series, and if you like, one thing that has nothing to do with the series, just so that we can enjoy getting to know each other a little bit better. I'll start. My name is Svenja. I'm from Germany, near Frankfurt. And so please, if I'm struggling for words, forgive me. I've been following John Finnemore for about 9 years now, and as everyone, I think I was very confused in the beginning, but well, I should know better by now than to doubt a man. And yeah, I've got my I learned my lesson in that regard. So, and I have 2 bunnies, as a random fact about me. Lizzie, do you want to continue?
Hi, I'm Lizzie. I think the bit I loved the most about the series was just kind of new, just how his relation to the family developed over the time. And I guess my random thing is that you already know that I live on a narrowboat and I'm going to live in Long Buckby in about 3 weeks' time.
And could you maybe nominate someone else, and then we can from there.
Megan, you're next on my screen.
Hello. I'm Megan. I'm calling from Massachusetts in the US. I think my favorite bit about the series was, even from the beginning, I like puzzles, and so I thought it was a puzzle. So as soon as I heard the first episode, I was like, is this a puzzle? And I started writing a bunch of things down. So it gave me a lot to do when I can't leave my house. So that was really nice. I don't know, a weird thing about me. I was trying to learn how to play the guitar, but I'm not very good at it. So there we are. Shall I pick someone? I think Ellie's next on my screen.
Okay, brilliant. Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm in my aunt's garden. So sometimes I've been going on mute because of my family are around. And it's one of the things that I love most about this series was how, you know, all the idiosyncrasies and little sayings that kind of get shared around the family they so obviously reminded me of my family. We don't have Gale Force 5 table manners, we have Belgian manners, because my parents pointed out how much better behaved the Belgian children were than we were. And the thing that I almost had like welled up, I was walking around yesterday thinking that the family is all the richer for kind of the mixing of cultures a bit. So bringing in Hilla and her Jewish background and adding to the richness of it. Because my family is quite spread out around the world as well, living in Singapore and Hong Kong. So it means that growing up in Somerset, we always celebrated Chinese New Year and Burns Night, my Scottish granny. And when like my sisters and I dated people from other cultures, and it just adds to the tapestry. So it's not even just family handing down to family, but also picking up things along the way. I just thought was really beautiful and really true to life. I think the fun thing is I'm here in London because I'm about to move back. So I'm just on a little holiday this weekend. And really impressed by the Zoom as well. So I've got Caroline Hardman next on my list.
Hi there.
Nominate Caroline.
Hi there. So are we doing what we like the best and then sort of something about ourselves?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So I think what I like the best is how much it rewards for listening. So he's made this wonderful thing which you can write entire timelines about and websites about and delve into. And the more I listen to it, the more I go, oh, there's another thing I haven't seen. And I feel like I'll be doing that for months and years to come, still spotting new little and bits and pieces. something about me. So someone mentioned puzzles earlier on. I'm a bit the same, and all my lockdown sort of Zoom keeping busy things seem to have been, you know, puzzle related and sort of watching puzzles and solving cryptics on Zooms and that kind of a thing. So I've begun writing puzzles as a result, which has been quite a nice thing to start exploring. Next on my screen.
I think it's me. I think I'm the last one.
Okay.
It's Claire. Claire from London. Hi everybody. I am writing full time, having given up my day job as a result of loads of things happening in lockdown. So I absolutely love this because I feel like John Finnemore's written a novel for the 6:30 p.m. comedy slot, about Dr. Strangelove and just when he's being vaccinated and the nurse thinks he's talking about Doctor Strange from Marvel and he just doesn't correct her, he just goes along with it. So that was just one little moment that I really enjoyed. And I just wanted to say I go running down the Grand Union Canal, Lizzie, so probably I run back past your boat down again.
We're bright purple, so if you do run past us, you can't miss us.
Oh lovely, I'll look out for bright purple boat.
I can still see a few people who haven't introduced.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was the last one. I do apologise, everyone else.
Don't worry. I think Andy, Jill, Barbara, John, and Fish. I love that.
Hello, if that's all right, I suppose, if no one else will. I'm Jill. I'm in New York City at the moment. My kids are asleep down the hall. My husband's further down. I'm trying not to wake them up, but yeah, this is it's so wonderful to be with so many other John Finnemore fans. I've never met another one face to face. The thing that I've enjoyed most thus far, I referenced in my last breakout room. I'm an actor, and I find it's really unusual when you're working on new scripts to ask a question of the author and have them actually know most of the answers. Surprisingly, quite a few playwrights anyway don't necessarily fill in character backstories at a granular level in their own mind. They'll sort of keep all of the details in their mind that are relevant to the overall story arc, but they won't necessarily know how to answer you if you ask too many questions about your character, at least in my experience over the years. So the comforting thing to me with any of John Finnemore's work is that I'm always confident that he absolutely knows the answers to any question you could possibly ask about these people. So even if we don't know, he will always know, which makes him really unique, I think. So.
Andy, would you like to go next?
Hi everyone, I'm Andy from Ilford in Surrey in the UK. This is Jasper, who's my own wolfhound, or Dachshund as we call him. He goes woof 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 every now and then. So yes, big fan of animals and listened to his previous series ad nauseum just over and over again. And this I think will keep me going for another few years, yeah, just listening to it over and over again. And I've listened to it quite a few times already, and yet I just went into that chap's website that he's created with all the different links. I've created my own spreadsheet just to try and figure out all the different links between the episodes, and thought I had it nailed. But I went into his website and there's still loads more things there that I hadn't even spotted. So there's just so much to be taken out of it. It's an amazing show. So very good. Anyway, that's me and Jasper.
So now I think there's Barbara and John and Fishy. Would you like to join in, or? Yes,
Hi, I'm Barbara. I'm in Lancashire near Wigan, and I thought I had found perfection with Cabin Pressure, but this has taken it to a whole new level. Very different sort of thing. My feeling, it probably shouldn't have been branded a souvenir programme, because it was so very, very different in format from everything that had gone before, when they were sort of standalone sketches, really, that sometimes intertwined with each other. If this had been called something else, I could have dealt with it better in the beginning, I think, because it just wasn't what I expected, what so many people have said. But the fact that you've stuck with it, and all of the stuff that I've read online that's helped me, or not a lot of the stuff that was involved, and speaking here today, I just think it's a work of genius.
And John, thank you, Barbara. No? Okay. That's fine then. Fishy answered in the notes, in the chat. So next thing I would love to ask you, what is your favorite thing that you spotted and went, oh, or damn you Finnemore, or whatever your expression of choice is there? Just chime in if you have something.
One of the things that I noticed yesterday when I was kind of re-listening to things was with Deborah, how we know that Deborah and Vanessa play the game where they're trying to figure out who people are and what they're doing and everything like that. But I didn't realize how much that comes up in the first episode. It happens in that, and also the second one when she's fencing, and then when Russ comes out, like that's alluded to, and I didn't obviously realize it when I first heard it, but then after finishing the series off and going back to the beginning, I was like, wow, very exciting.
But on that topic then, in the last episode, I think it is, they say the registrar is recently divorced, and then somebody else says, no, widows. Oh, it's the Barrows. No, because of the reading glasses. And you think, what? What? What are they talking about? Anyone got any ideas on that? I don't know what they could mean.
No, I don't think so. I think that's between Deborah and Vanessa, and we will never be as clever as them, to be honest. I have fun about that scene though, because it was like last thing that I noticed that made me go, wow, when they're in the car in the very last scene, and Jerry says, okay, Wilco's, and Associated Drives, and he's actually the only one in this car going by Wilco at this point. But it doesn't matter because they're a family, and I think this whole theme comes across so nicely. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I was especially proud of myself for eventually spotting the fact that Deborah doesn't like dessert. It's well established that she doesn't like pudding. And then going back to episode 1 to the Zoom, when everyone's got their little presumably individually sized Christmas puddings, and Jerry says, Deborah, what have you got? Half of a Scotch egg. Genius. I laughed out loud. I thought it was really wonderful.
but all those things you've got to listen back, because you won't think back to that when we learn about not liking puddings. You won't think back to that episode 1 again, will you, when you're on episode 3?
Yeah.
So it demands listening over and over again.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to get the full benefit.
Yeah.
I love that one as well. I think it was, come on.
On that sort of, it benefits from listening back is in episode 5, if you sort of Google, like once you've worked out that it's M.R. James telling a ghost story at the very end, if you Google the words that you can hear, it comes up with the Rose Garden, and the story that Newt then tells Vanessa and Myra, Deborah and Myra, is sort of very much the Rose Garden, but very much not the Rose Garden as well, because it's got the whole judge's house and the judge, and I just thought that was brilliant.
Oh, can I add something to that? Because I completely agree. But I think it was, when you're listening to this spooky story and you imagine from the wooden beam hanging a stout rope, it kind of I think see the cogs turning in Uncle Newt's mind a bit, where he's thinking, "Oh no, a gallows is too dark." Partly and rails it into the swing. Maybe it was a plan all along, but I think it really throws us off, and it would go over the girls' heads. But as an adult listener, you think, "Oh, a haunted gallows," and then of course it's back to the whimsy.
I can confirm it went over my husband's head too.
The bit in that story that makes me laugh over and over again, and I've heard it now 5 or 6 times, is the mockery of a crockery rockery. And
broccoli daiquiri.
My broccoli daiquiri. And brilliant wordplay. So just makes me go with laughter each time I hear that.
I've got a did you spot thing that I think is part conspiracy theory. So bear with. We don't know why Newt and Gally got their nicknames, but I think one of the best theories I've heard is Newton and Galileo. Because the link that I think would be a did you spot is that obviously Galileo comes up in the lecture about Plato and Aristotle, and I wondered if it's a cut for time thing, but it would tie in to, because that mentions Galileo but not Newton, and I think that's a really it's clever enough for Fenimore almost. But I was not clever enough to think of that. It wasn't my idea. I can't remember whose idea that was, because I always thought it was more like Newt the animal and Gally the gull was my idea, which is I don't think is right.
Although there's a new theory, isn't there, about how newts reproduce?
Yes.
very academic. I don't think it's that. I think that's it's a bit blue, isn't it?
I don't know that Newt would like that to be his nickname, as a constant reminder of how you feel in.
Yeah, the wink wink only pretend to be an uncle is a better way of alluding to that.
Yeah.
I thought that Gally was short for nightingale because she performed as nightingale. Oh, and do you think that's part conspiracy theory as well? Do you think before they became midnight and noon, they were nightingale and Clark, like a lark, like there's 2 birds? Well, I don't know.
No, I think it may well be.
I mean, that's partly because Doctor Who did the Nightingale and Sparrow joke at some point. So, in that Blink episode, I think that's to connect with that.
Yeah, good thinking.
Sorry, we have another 10 minutes. So I would like to start to collect some questions you would like to ask the man himself. And we, as in the organizers, thought we just collect a couple of questions and then nominate the ones we want to ask, so we don't overwhelm them too much. That was our idea.
Is there any way, and I don't even know if this would be possible for time. I mean, he's said on Twitter that he, unsurprisingly, knows exactly what Jerry is trying to say during his birthday speech, during the final episode. I know some people have made a really excellent effort at trying to translate it. But gosh, yeah, is there any way we can ask him to sort of sum up his understanding of Jerry's speech when he's got the aphasia?
Thank you. I'll type the questions. Yes, I like that one. Or at least maybe give them some clue words. I think gentle bird might be old girl, but I'm not sure.
Someone said they thought that gentle ladybirds was probably an effort at ladies and gentlemen. And I thought, oh, of course it probably is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and glassware could be half a glass. I think that's the because that's what we end up toasting. But I love that.
Glassware could be sort of tears.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Raise your glasses. Yeah, I think that's right. I did love the, even when he's struggling for words, he just comes back to Hiller and Hiller and Hiller. Maybe it's one for the Made Me Cry group, but
yes.
So I suppose, maybe it's another theme, and it's quite a subtle one, but about just supporting people through disability and illness. It's part of the kindness of the whole family, isn't it? That, Vanessa narrating for Walter and all the family helping Jerry talk around things. There's just absolutely no judgment. It's all just...
And also just acceptance of everyone in general.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a huge. The representation is just not like anything else. Certainly on Radio 4, is it?
Oh, here's a question.
Yeah, but
Does Jerry know that Walter is blind, or have they also hidden it from Jerry successfully?
Ooh.
When he's going to come back from Uncle Newt's, Vanessa's saying, "Oh, I'll take care of your father. He's going to take care of me." When she's got her head bandaged after being hit by a bridge. So I think he might be aware. He's not maybe as perceptive as Vanessa and Deborah, but he's not. No, he's no fool, is he?
Yeah, that was sort of the only real clue one way or the other. But I was curious to know.
Do we have a scene with Jerry and Walter in it together? I don't remember.
Just when Walter is saying, when they're saying goodbye to him to send him off to school, and that's where Walter teaches him half a glass. That's I think that's the only. There's a Christmas scene. There's the family Christmas scene.
Yeah, I was going to say the Christmas scene where, "Oh, Walter, your crackers on your side plate."
Yes.
When it's obvious that Deborah doesn't know. Yeah.
Deborah doesn't know exactly, and then she tries to catch him out. So yeah, when the train scene, then that was post-war. We assumed, don't we, that Walter lost his sight in the war, don't we? Is that right?
I think he says he did.
Oh, okay.
I think he actually said.
Okay, more than assumed.
Because Deborah goes, "How long have you been blind?" "Oh, since the war. As long as you've known me, since the war."
Of course. That's right. Yes, that was in 51 on the train. So yeah. Okay.
Something that I'd love an explanation of is the I can't think of a better word than rules, but like how the poems work for the like codes. Because I kind of vaguely followed it, but the explanation is so kind of fast and clever.
I think someone's put on the Padlet a link which explains them from memory. I think I saw it before.
I missed the key word there. The rules?
The poem codes.
Oh, yes. So there's a good article on Wikipedia that explains how they're used. But basically you want at least 26 words, because when you send a message, the first 5 letters you send, you convert them to numbers. So like A is 1, B is 2, and you take those words and you put them up, and then you number the columns based on the alphabetical order. So you go from left to right, you mark all the A's going 1, 2, 3, 4, then B's 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you rearrange the columns according to that. So
in terms of like writing a poem, though, like how, sort of working that out in terms of what it has to be rhythmically and
just to make it easy to remember.
Yeah,
because it could be any, like, you don't actually have to use poems, but because poems are easy to remember, and when they rhyme, your brain's better at filling in words you might forget.
Lizzie, by telling us how they work, you're going to get locked up now for breaking the Official Secrets Act.
The anonymous in the comments
they'll
made
have
a really
to
good point.
Find by boat as it travels at 3 miles an hour.
It'd be like a tortoise stampede.
I think the poems were exactly 26 words, weren't they? Because I've just been counting the walrus one on my fingers. But Anonymous Fish pointed out that Jerry's first draft of the aardvark thing was 25, and then Newt edited it, partly to make it better and partly to make it exactly 26 words. It's just so clever.
Yep.
Oh, say that bit again, sorry.
Oh, so they all came to exactly 26, and the ones that Jerry did a first draft of, and then Newt revised, changed from either 25 or 27 to exactly 26 words. So it's obviously something to do with each one being a letter for the alphabet. Because obviously drafting the poems don't include the codes. The poems are there, and then the code. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand it either.
And because you choose different words each time, you've got so many possible combinations.
Yeah.
Have any of you tried the hands at the poems that were in the war yet? Because on our Padlet there's one column for that, and there's some really nice attempts. I urge you to have a
They're
look.
brilliant. I was really impressed by
Try
them.
some.
I decided to not be confined by that
I
format.
really like
because
the one that includes hallowed big.
Yeah, I mean, Ealing as it is in heaven. I thought that was
Yes.
I've got a question for Megan. How did you come by it, Megan, in America?
How did I find this?
Yeah. The show, I mean, not
years
this.
ago on YouTube, I was looking at, I think, web or something, and Capture came up, and I thought it was amazing, and I made my whole family listen to it, and then I've just been following it ever since.
Ah, fantastic.
I was very pleased when this came out. I was very excited. My brother had to listen to me talk about it for a while, so.
Have you been able to get all the references? Because there must be some peculiarly English things in there that you.
Yeah, I had to look up a few things like the canal. I didn't know what that was about at all. So there was a lot of Googling English history that I'm not super familiar with. I think
both kinds of history.
What?
Both kinds of history. Yeah.
Yes, both kinds of history.
Yeah.
But by this point, after being, kind of an Anglophile for a while, I could get most of the words. Like I knew what a lilo was, which I don't think most Americans knew.
That's good.
Right.
Nice one.
I find the cultural references much more confusing. I'm not, when I don't know if there's a reference or not. Like, was the quiz show Vanessa's on a quiz show that is recognizable, or just any quiz show? And the Desert Island Disc one, I had no idea. I knew about Desert Island Disc. I had no idea they were so old that this show has been.
Oh yeah, I think people like Louis
like
Armstrong were on Desert Island Discs. I think he picked out 8 of those records.
Yeah.
It really goes back a long way.
It's even as a British person, so many of the references and this sort of thing just go completely over my head.
The funeral poem.
Oh, that's good to know.
It was obviously Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square, but I sometimes joke singing in Berkeley's Bank. So it's Keith, the song, and Berkeley's Bank all in one, in a couple of lines there. It's so good.
Yes, very clever.
Question I'd love him to be asked is about the editing process. So I'm kind of, when you think about all the connections between things, I'm wondering if there were extra bits that he wrote and either sort of wrote and recorded that then weren't included for time, and how that worked with still keeping connections in. And then also that decision around what went in each episode. So how much of the work was in deciding when to give us which bits of information as opposed to writing it in the first place, if that makes sense.
So down editing process, are there cut scenes, either written or recorded? And
I guess how much of the work was in deciding the order of things as opposed to writing it in the first place?
Yeah, did he write sketches first and then put them into an order, or did he write out the whole order of things first and then think, oh right, now I need to write something funny about that particular?
And also, how do you write backwards jokes? Because there was a lot of those, and that was impressive.
And the decisions around what we get told when are really important. We were talking in our previous group about the fact that when you look at episode 1 and 2, there's a big generational gap between the main characters, which means there's lots of things in the middle that are missing. And then episode 3 suddenly filled all that in. And I think if we'd had Deborah first or second, it wouldn't have been as satisfying, I think. So yeah, I'd love to know how that decision was made.
It would be fascinating to know what was cut for time.
Yeah. And then the impact of that, and what the knock-on effects might have been, and did things have to then sort of squeezed in somewhere else because they were important.
I think didn't he say in a Twitter somewhere that he was going to explain how Gally and Newt got their names, but had to cut that, for example.
Yeah, I think that's right, and I'm dying to know.
I think we'll be back.
So I would add, is there any chance that we will see more of that family in the future? And I think we don't have that many questions. So when asked, I will just go from top and then see how many I can manage. Is
I'd
that
love
alright
to
with you?
know
Because I
more
just
with
have
like
that
the
question.
musical stuff, especially like
Mm.
yeah,